Now, your forecast with Storm Tracker Live.
The showers and storms that we have been tracking on Storm Tracker Live are beginning to diminish, and I think that trend will continue throughout tonight, but more rain will be on the way for tomorrow afternoon. But we'll start off the day rather dry and 61 degrees. We'll have the full forecast coming up, but first, WDHN News at 6 starts right now.
First in local news, this is WDHN News at 6.
Good evening, I'm Kevin Presley. Thank you for joining us. Changes could be coming to Alabama's judicial system. Lawmakers want to eliminate many trials in capital murder cases with guilty pleas. Now, this could save the state $1 million each year, but some say it doesn't necessarily cover everything. Our Jamise Price here now to explain this. Jamise, what are the concerns?
Kevin, the bill doesn't address the victims. Typically, in capital murder cases, victims or the victims' families give an impact statement, and one advocate is concerned the new due process could affect the healing process. Pat Jones is the founder of the victims advocate group Vocal. Her mother was violently killed in 1990.
We had to go through 5 capital murder trials in less than 4 years. Each trial lasted about a week. 2 of the trials were in Abbeville, in my hometown, where my mother was murdered. 3 of them was in Montgomery.
If new measures some lawmakers are pushing for were already in place, families like Jones may avoid going through a trial. Some Alabama leaders want to eliminate many trials when the defendant pleads guilty. It's an effort to save money, but Jones says for some victims, being a part of the judicial process is a way for them to heal.
The victim has to know that they're part of the process and be kept informed of the different stages, whether it's a full-blown capital murder trial, regular murder trial, or any type of situation.
If the family is a part of the process, Jones says this bill could be effective. It would save time for district attorneys.
This would give them more time to spend on more cases to help with the backlog that our state is faced because of not enough money in the system.
Many trials are in place as a safety net for the capital murder defendants. In most cases, trials take place to ensure a defendant's rights aren't violated. Now, a mini trial is not a drawn-out process. It typically lasts for 2 or 3 hours. Kevin?
Jamise Price reporting for us tonight. Thank you. Continuing our coverage of what's happening in the Alabama legislature, an error in the rewrite of Alabama's driver's license laws has legislators scrambling to fix the problem. Even though lots of people have motorcycle endorsements on their licenses, they really aren't required. But a proposed legislative bill would correct that. Anyone under 19 would be required to pass a written test in order to drive a motorcycle. Those with a regular driver's license over 19 would not be required to take the test, but would have to pay to add the Class M endorsement to their license.
Now, if you got on a motorcycle and went out riding today, and I stopped you and you didn't have an M class on there, citing you a ticket would be kind of tough because you have a driver's license. It gives you the right to operate that motor vehicle on the roadway. But if they make it law where you have to have an M class on there by taking the test and passing everything you have to pass to be able to be allowed to be on the roadway with a motorcycle.
Alabama is the only state that does not require a license to operate a motorcycle. Time is running out for state lawmakers to pass a Sunday alcohol sales bill for Dothan. While the House has approved the measure, the Senate has yet to vote. And there are only 4 days left in the session after today. If approved, we will vote in August whether to allow alcoholic products to be sold in stores on Sunday. Restaurants can already serve such products on Sunday. Lawmakers usually pass a lot of local bills, such as this one, in a rush of last-minute legislative activity. The Alabama legislature is still working on several other last-minute bills that are getting plenty of attention. Changes to the state's accountability law are still waiting to be approved by both the House and the Senate. Those changes would clarify some questions about how to define a failing school and whether or not non-failing schools would have to accept students from failing schools. A bill paving the way for high schools around the state to get career tech equipment still could be passed in the final few days. And another bill that could see approval would provide funds for security equipment in school around Alabama. A bill to regulate barber shops and a bill to allow for home beer brewing could pass their final hurdles by this evening. A court date has been set this summer regarding the seizure of cash and gaming machines from Center Stage, Alabama. A raid last July, spearheaded by the Attorney General's office, resulted in the confiscation of 691 machines. $283,000 in cash was also seized. After months of motions and delays, Houston County Judge Mike Conaway has set a court date. A hearing will be held August 5th, according to state judicial records. At stake is whether Center Stage can get their machines and money back, or whether the state can keep the cash and destroy the machines. Turning to state headlines now, mass murderer Jacob Schaefer has now been sentenced for the murder he committed in Madison County. And today, he got the chance to address the victim's family. He told the family of Sidney Dempsey that he was sorry and he deserved the punishment he was given. The punishment he received is life without the possibility of parole. Schaefer was taken back to Tennessee today. He is serving 5 life sentences there for the murders he committed in Lincoln County. He will likely never return to Alabama. A Birmingham woman was shot and killed by a stray bullet Monday while holding her newborn son. Police are searching for the gunman. 24-year-old Sherry Williams was struck as she stood in the doorway of her apartment. Authorities say 2 men got into a fight nearby, and one of them chased the other down the street firing a gun. Williams was dead by the time police arrived. Her 10-day-old son, who was still in her arms, was not injured. Police are looking for suspects last seen in a black Chrysler Sebring. An Anniston mom is accused of lying about her son having cancer. The woman told everyone that her son was dying and she needed help. And authorities say she milked money and goods out of some teachers and friends. Jonathan Hardison has the story.
Greed knows no bounds, as the old saying goes.
The Sheriff's Department says 41-year-old Sandra Lloyd was asked by some of her son's teachers why he'd been missing so many days of school. Her answer? He had cancer and was being treated in Birmingham and Nashville, among other places. Investigators say the school staff, on their own, decided they would try to pitch in and help.
And they began to contribute money, gift cards for gas. Apparently something was said about the child not eating well, so they were given cases of Pedialyte so that they could keep the child hydrated and fed properly.
One local car dealership even sold Lloyd a used car for a nominal fee to help with transporting her child. But investigators say it was all a lie.
First, you got a child that's missed a lot of school. It's going to have obviously a bad impact on them educationally. And then this issue of mother being arrested for cheating the school staff. And I don't know how all that's going to unfold, but we can be certain it won't be good.
Lloyd even created a Facebook page for help for her allegedly sick child, and on her personal page wrote status updates about how the medicine was keeping her son awake. But the alleged lie came crashing down when Lloyd was arrested on an unrelated warrant and a teacher called to check on the sick child. That's when Lloyd's husband, who investigators don't think was in on this alleged scam, told teachers his son was just fine. That left the school staff stunned.
Very upset, very angry, frustrated that someone would just so clearly, blatantly take advantage of them.
Lloyd is in jail on a theft by deception felony charge. Investigators met with school staff to try and figure out how much money and goods were given to her to see what, if any, more charges she may face. Coming up, as we near the National Day of Prayer, some local folks, well, they're doing some scripture reading right now. Details on that when we come back.
We're going to be tracking more rain this week. We'll let you know how much you can expect when we return.
First in local news, you're watching WDHN News at 6 with Kevin Presley, meteorologist Scott Roberts, and sports with Josh Woltenberg.